Hey guys, you're watching Vinyl for Miles, your best resource for music and vinyl reviews. I'm Michael. Today we're going to be taking a look at Billie Eilish's new album, When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? So Billie Eilish is a 17-year-old singer-songwriter. She does everything with her brother, who goes by the name Phineas. This is their first full-length album, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very hesitant to review this album. I was very hesitant to buy this album. I heard her singles and her EP that she put out earlier last year and didn't really get pulled into it. I thought the lyrical content was original and it definitely had its perks, but it didn't strike me as something that I would necessarily go back and keep listening to her. Now, I couldn't ignore the new album, When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? The promotion for it was just insane. I even thought, hey, this sounds like some producers and a huge label picked her up and put together this album, because the promotion, I've never seen promotion for a singer-songwriter this crazy before. I mean, I couldn't go on any social outlet without seeing this album cover, without seeing her music videos. So I kind of caved and I thought, whatever, let's just give it a go, let's listen. So I pulled it up on iTunes, gave it a listen, pleasantly surprised. Surprised enough for me to actually go out and buy the record to see what it sounds like on vinyl. So this is that review. I'm gonna try to do a little more structure to these reviews, give you a little information on the artist, my little background with how I got introduced to the album, my review of the music, and then we're gonna dive into the actual vinyl quality. Okay, so let's dive into the music. So When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? The musical style is all over the place. Elements of pop, electro pop, trap, there's some R&B in there. I would even say there's elements of lo-fi in this as well. So let's dive into the good. This definitely has an original sound. I was impressed by the maturity in her lyrics. I was impressed by the control of her vocals. I heard very little pitch control, which is rare in pop music. She definitely has a lot of effects. She definitely has a lot of harmonizing. She has a lot of parallel singing, maybe a full octave below
to beef up the vocals.
But I did not hear a whole lot of pitch stretching, pitch correction, auto-tune, not a lot of that, which is good, and especially good for someone her age to have that type of maturity with her voice. Now, another good to this is, I mean, she's only 17 years old. This is just crazy. I've never seen an artist this young. I mean, aside from Lorde and maybe a few other people, but that was more label driven. This is two people making this. I thought for sure I'd look in the liner notes and see 100 different songwriters, you know, 3-4 different producers, but it's literally her and her brother on every track. Now that's impressive. For someone this age to put out a full-length album that she fully wrote and produced with only one other person. So now let's dive into the bad. There are some areas I think she will mature into and she can explore more. One of those areas is definitely her voice. Now, I gave her high remarks on her control with her voice, but I'm definitely going to take off a few points because she rarely has her voice by itself. She rarely has her naked voice without any type of harmony, overdub, you know, an octave. It's very, very rare. There's a few lines on the album where she does showcase her voice by itself, but I'd like to definitely hear on the future releases less effects on her voice. She's very talented. She has very good vocal control and pitch control. It'd be nice to showcase that a little more. I also would like to hear a little more volume out of her at times. The dynamics can get a little stale on this record, especially vocally. 90% of her vocal lines are very, very low, very whispered. It doesn't really offer a whole lot of vocal dynamics that I would look for in a singer. But like I said, it is original. I get the vibe she's going for this whole album. So the other bad I'd like to outline is side B can get a little boring. That is just my other criticism would be it needed something to kind of pick it back up. Let's talk about my favorite tracks on this record. My number one pick is going to be You Should See Me in a Crown. I think this is the strongest song on the entire record as far as dynamics go and as far as the hook goes. Now, there's a ton of good stuff on this. There's tons of good hooks. There's something about this song that just sticks with me. It also sounds really good turned up. So, track number 4, Crank It Up. My second pick is going to be My Strange Addiction. Again, I think this one has really good dynamics, has great vocal hooks on it. It also features Michael Scorn from The Office. If you guys are a fan of The Office, it's a Threat Level Midnight episode where they watch that film in its entirety. I'm a huge fan of The Office, so that definitely pulled me in. Alright, well, you're watching Vinyl for Miles, so let's dive into the vinyl release of this. Now, there's a few different versions of this out. I believe it's a black version, a picture disc, a glow-in-the-dark version, which I would advise do not get. I got the pale yellow version, which we'll show you right now. So let's dive into it. So the outer sleeve comes on a matte finish, as we can see here with her creepy album cover. You flip onto the back, very dark, and it has just the tracks represented here. No artwork on the back at all. Again, this release is very heavy on the blacks. The inside, we have nothing but lyrics. Now let's go into the inner sleeve. The inner sleeve, again, solid black. This is a slight upgrade from a normal paper sleeve. So you just get some label info on there, nothing to write home about on the inner sleeve. Record itself is pale yellow, so you can check it out. So this is a solid pale yellow with black matte labels on it. Next we're going to dive into the sound quality. So this record, it surprised me. It really, really surprised me. I assumed it was going to sound like garbage based off the reviews I read on the picture disc and the glow-in-the-dark version, but this sounds really, really good. It has a very low noise floor. There's very little pops and cracks. I think I only heard maybe 2 or 3 pops on side B. Side A, honestly, I didn't hear any. That's very rare. In 2019, the plant's quality control have gone downhill. I don't know what the deal is, especially in the US. I've had tons of copies of new releases that are just packed full of noise, even after a wet clean. So side A was virtually noiseless. I couldn't be more impressed. Now the dynamics on this record are really good too. So this is something you would put on to showcase your system. The lows on it are thumping, so if you have a sub, it'll definitely showcase that. There are some crystal clear highs on this. My cartridge I'm using is a 2M Red, and it picked up all the dynamics perfectly. There's also some really good transitions between tracks. There's some outros and some interludes on these tracks on this record that really add to the album as a whole. So if you sit and listen to this whole thing front to back, it's a great experience. I couldn't be more impressed. I was extremely hesitant at first to even review this album, but after listening to it on iTunes and after actually listening to the vinyl version of this, I couldn't be more impressed. I guess you could say I was proven wrong. The inner hipster in me didn't want to even touch this based off its popularity, but I mean, it's popular for a reason. So my rating for the vinyl would be 4 out of 5, and my rating for the music would be 3.5 out of 5. I highly recommend it. Anybody who wants to showcase their system, check out the pale yellow edition. I think they still have some on Amazon, but I'm going to put a link in the bio to Discogs, Amazon, and her own website where she sells this. So Billie Eilish, when we fall asleep, where do we go? Check it out. Hope you enjoyed that review. If you did, go ahead and subscribe and check out my other videos and let me know what you want me to review next.
All right.